We welcome you to another episode of Sports Talk. I'm Ted Emmerich. The softball playoffs are upon us. All three McKinney ISD schools are in. Boyd winning its first district title in program history, and the Broncos have a pitcher who could carry them several rounds deep. Now, the same could be said for McKinney High, but Chelsea Thomas isn't dangerous just in the circle. She's also dangerous at the plate. Meanwhile, the streak continues at North. 10 consecutive playoff appearances. And speaking of dangerous at the plate, how about Taylor McAllister, who's having an unforgettable season? Coming up, the coaches stop by to preview the road to the state tournament. And as a bonus, Boyd baseball coach Brandon Milam joins us. One game to go in the Broncos' regular season. They're headed to the playoffs as well, and they're trying to put a recent setback behind them. Also, the Dennis Baker State Farm Scholar Athlete of the Week, next on Sports Talk. We'll turn to softball in just a moment, but first we focus on Boyd baseball, and the Broncos are headed back to the postseason under Coach Brandon Milam, but there is some disappointment in that they missed out on a chance at a district championship with a 7-4 loss to Rowlett on Friday. And Brandon, yeah, that does sting a little bit, but what did you take overall from this past Friday?
Well, I think what our kids needed to be in is a pressure situation with a big crowd with something huge on the line like a district title. And so, although we lost, I think we came away with a little bit of more experience in that kind of atmosphere. I was very proud of Tyler Keegan coming in that kind of situation. He threw great, and sure it hurts. You know, our goal was to win district title this year, and we failed to do that again. But by no means was it lack of effort. Our kids played hard, they played tough, they never gave up, and you know we fought hard at the very end. And of course, now we turn our focus toward the playoffs.
We all knew how pivotal those two matchups with Rowlett would be, and they were two playoff-style games. 2-1 loss the first time around, then, of course, 7-4 Friday. What did you learn about your team in those highly charged environments?
Well, with Rowlett, I think that us, Rowlett, and Saxe are pretty formidable teams. We're pretty equal. And it comes down to one small thing here and there that can win or lose a ball game. Of course, with the Saxe games, it came down to one or two plays, and the Rowlett game the first time we played them, it was tight. But, you know, our kids, we're trying to find out who we can depend on. And I think we've answered a lot of questions, and those kids really stepped forward. And, of course, we're preparing our team for the playoffs. And throughout district, our district kind of allows us to do that in the way that we play our Tuesday, Friday games. And we can space out some starters and get a lot of guys some innings on the mound and to get playoff ready instead of just throwing your number one, your number two, your number one, your number two. And, you know, I think we've done that as a coaching staff. We're really excited about the kids that we have. I think we're better prepared. I think our team fits a 3-game series pretty good. So we're excited to get ready for the playoffs.
After losing a pair of all-district starters from a year ago, you have 3 guys who have 4 wins each. You have balance in your pitching staff. Everyone who takes the ball has been contributing. You mentioned Tyler Keegan. He's one of them. Russell Williams, who we usually see at shortstop, he started that game against Rowlett. He's been solid for you. Also, Cameron Sweeney, who's really turned into be the workhorse of this rotation, 56 2/3 innings. What have you liked most about Cameron here in his senior year?
The best thing he's been able to do is come in and throw strikes. Obviously, with these new bats, walks are huge. He's been able to come in and throw a ton of strikes, really pound the strike zone, and let our defense do some work. Same thing with Tyler Keegan. He's able to get a little movement on his fastball and get a lot of ground balls, and that's how we beat Saxe the first time. We had a ton of ground balls that game, and so. But Cameron, you know, he's been consistent too. You know, sometimes you have a good game, a bad game, you know. But in high school, if you have a guy that can come in and be consistent, throwing strikes, pound the strike zone, and throw off speed for a strike, then you're going to be successful, and that's what he's done.
Now, Cameron has that ERA under 2 at the moment. We mentioned Russell Williams. What have you liked about his overall development? He's taking the next step as a starter and obviously at the plate as well.
Yeah, he's our leadoff hitter, and he provides a lot of opportunity for the guys behind him to drive him in. He gets on base a lot, and as far as defensively, we knew he was going to be solid at shortstop. Coming in from football, he gained some strength and some speed that's helped his range at shortstop. And on the mound, he's just dependable. He's not going to be a strikeout king. He's not going to blow it by people. He's just going to be consistently throwing strikes. And if we play good defense behind him, he can be effective in a three-game series.
Freshman Will Hollis hit his third home run of the season this past Friday. He leads your team in RBIs, in fact, top 10 in the area in that category. Did you imagine that you would get this kind of production from Hollis as a ninth grader?
Well, I think his age isn't baseball age for him. He's played a ton of baseball games. He's seen a lot of good pitching. And, being in the middle of our lineup where we have some guys that get on base in front of him, and your Trevor Boshans and Evan Williams, those guys get on base in front of him, it really allows him an opportunity to drive runs in. And right behind him, he's kind of protected pretty good with Francisco De Jesus behind him. He's a sophomore, another young hitter, I believe is supposed to be a freshman this year, but he started school early. So, but both those guys are, the middle of our lineup is doing a great job right now. And behind those guys, you got Tommy Nawa, who's doing great driving in runs late. He's a big clutch hitter for us. And then, of course, Daniel Cortina is behind him, is doing a great job getting on base as well.
You bring up Evan Williams. You never have to worry about production when it comes to him. He continues to be that offensive dynamo, leads your team with that .427 average. How has Evan, as a senior, raised his game?
He wants to improve every year. And, of course, the last 2 years he's done a great job of hitting for us. And he just wants to get better and better and better. I mean, the kid wants to hit 500 if he can. And so, he gets pitched probably tougher than anybody on our team. When he comes to plate, a lot of kids know him in the area, and so he gets the best pitches, the toughest pitches to hit. And if they pitch around some folks, it's probably going to be pitching around him, and that, of course, allows our 4 and 5-0 hitters to do a lot of damage.
Brandon, while that number 1 seed, the district title, is out of the question after 2 losses to Rowlett, the number 2 seed from this district is very likely. You beat Sachse twice. Right now, you and Sachse tied at second place with 10-3 records. And those were one-run affairs. A 2-1 win for your team, followed by 3-2. Critical wins for your club this season.
Right. The Sachse game over at their place was tough. Going into a team that's ranked here in the Dallas area, that's pretty good with their best pitchers on the mound. And we went over to their place. We did a great job to win extra innings. Cameron Sweeney threw upward to 120 pitches, which was, for him, I don't like throwing a kid that much, but it was a 120 easy innings there late. He was cruising. I think the last inning he threw 7 pitches in that 10th inning. So, he was solid, and it was a great baseball game, and the kids were very excited about winning. And again, it was a small thing here and there that won that game.
Coming off back-to-back playoff appearances, you're going deeper each time, and now you have won 7 of your last 8. Do you feel like this particular team is peaking at the right time?
Yes, I think so. And we have a couple of kids hitting real well for us right now, and there's a couple that we expect to come on in the next couple of weeks. We've got this week, and then we got a district game on Friday, and then we got all of next week. And then we have probably a 3-game series with either Lake Highlands or W.T. White. So we got 2 weeks to get those guys that are kind of in a little bit of slump right now, get those guys going and have our pitchers ready to go. But I think this team is better equipped than last year's team for a playoff series. I mean, we were pretty good last year. I thought we were real good. But I think from a pitching standpoint, depth-wise, we got 4, 5, 6 guys that can come in and give us quality innings. So I really think we're built real good for a 3-game series.
Brandon, you mentioned the break that you have now before the postseason. 1 game in between, that comes Friday. How do you stay sharp during this time? No Tuesday game this week, the regular season finale against South Garland, a team that you beat 16-2 the first time around, and then almost another week before you begin the playoffs.
Well, I think we just keep facing live pitching. And to do that, we got to, inter squad quite a bit. So we'll do a lot of things that are game oriented. The hay's in the barn at this point with as far as drills and skills. I mean, we are who we are right now. We just want to stay sharp, seeing live pitching, and and go for there.
Brandon, we appreciate the time. Best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate what you do for our district, and you do a great job.
Brandon, certainly appreciate it. Brandon Milam, head coach of the Boyd Broncos. They know that the regular season is about to come to a close, then the postseason, and that's nothing new for the battle-tested Broncos.